In this video, we will create a simple multi-tenant app. So let's start by defining what is multi-tenancy. So this is a very long description here for multi-tenancy. The main concept is that different clients that you have do not share resources with each other. Or in short, in our case, we will not share the same database with different clients. So I made an example here with Postman. This URL is my local host basically. However, I renamed it this way because we need to read the URL in order to define which tenant we are. And this tenant here is returning this product. And if I switch to shop2, you will see that we are returning another product. So the backend is the same, however the database is different for these two tenants. Let me describe it better with a tool called eraser.io. So go to eraser.io, and this is a tool to draw diagrams, and it is helpful in our case to visualize how multi-tenancy works. And it is also very easy to write diagrams because you can use the AI tool Diagram GPT here. You can describe what you want, and in the end it will draw it for you. So let's try it. I will create a user here, has a first name, last name and email. A post has a title and a description, and a user has many posts. So with these words, let's try to generate the diagram, and this will use the AI tool there. And as you can see, it is very simple to generate this. One other tool that I like here is that we can paste a Prisma code here, music site Prisma scheme. So we can describe here some Prisma models, and it will generate a diagram for us. So as you can see, based on the Prisma code, which we will build this up with NodeJS and Prisma, it will write the diagram for us. Now let's go back. I wrote the same thing as I wrote before, so I can generate the diagram again. And now we will edit that diagram and show it as it will look like in multi-tenancy. So I will click here, save and edit diagram. You will need to log in order to change this diagram. So I logged in, and this is a diagram that we have. And what do we want to do with multi-tenancy is we want to duplicate this. So we can right click and duplicate, and we have two schemas in a database, and we can rename this title here. So if I double click now, we can see on the right that we have some code to generate this diagram, and the title is user post relationship. I will rename that to shop one schema, and the same thing I will do for the second one, which is shop two schema. So I will add a border for these schemas. So I will type here create figure, and the same for the second schema. So we will see a border outside of this. And now I will add them in the same database. So I can insert here many things, so I will select icon here, and I want a database. So we have the database icon, which is here. I will make it a little bit bigger, the icon. I will select everything, and I will create a figure here. So this figure 3 is the database. So as you can see, this is a database. This is the first schema, which is shop1 schema. This is the second schema, which is the shop2 schema, and they have the same tables. How the front end and the back end will work in this case? So I will add the browser here. So let's create an icon here, browser, and the shop1 in most of the cases for multi-tenancy is accessed like this. So I will add here text, shop1.website.com. So in multi-tenancy, usually the client has its own subdomain. So the subdomain here is shop1, and so is the name of the schema that this client is accessing. I will copy this, paste it, and I will do the same for shop number 2. And let's create a backend. So I'll create a rectangle here. I'll just call it backend. So we will have one backend. So we won't have different backends from different clients. We have only one backend. However, we have different databases. And let me illustrate it with arrows. So I will select here an arrow. I will connect it here. I will connect it here as well. So I will connect it here, and I will connect it here as well. So I will change the color here. So the color will be blue for this first tenant, and I will make it green for the second one. So this means that if we go to shop1.website.com, we access the same backend. However, the backend will know which client we are working on, and it will access only the data of that client, which is this one here. Same for the second shop, it will access their own data. So this is basically multi-tenancy. And there is also an even more complex solution, which we can have shared data, not only separate data, but also shared data. In that case, I will copy the database here, paste it, and let's make another database here. So what we will do now is we need another, so we have to break this first. I will remove the users here, and also this relation. So we have only one schema there. I'll copy and paste this, so it will not belong to the figure. So let me shorten this figure here. Actually, I will copy the figure and paste it again, only that this is not the shop anymore, it should be users. So I will copy this code, go here and paste the users, and I will rename here shared schema. And for this one, I will remove the users as well. So as we can see in this example, let me make this a little bit shorter, and the database. In this example, we have each tenant has their own separate data, and there are some instances that a user can be also in one of the shop and also on the second one, so it is the same user. Now there are two ways to handle that, which is store the same user to two different databases schemas, or have a shared schema which you store the users and everywhere that user ID is unique. Now this depends on your app, but both cases are valid, and in this tutorial we will handle only this simple first case. And now let's start building a simple app to describe how multi-tenancy works with Node.js and Prisma. So let's get started. I have here an empty project, and now let's install Prisma. So go to Prisma documentation and go to the quick start link. Here we have some commands that we need to run now. So let's run npm init -y. We created a package.json here. We need to install TypeScript, so let's do this as well. The next command is this one. So this has finished, so let's initialize here. This will create a tsconfig.json file. Then we need to install Prisma, so I will copy this, install Prisma, and the last command is to initialize the data source provider, which in our case will be Postgres, not SQLite. So I will remove this SQLite to Postgres. It seems I have to add SQL in the end, so PostgreSQL, and it was created. So as we can see, we have a schema.prisma here. We have a .env file which will connect to a random Postgres connection. But before we connect with Postgres, we have to first set up our basic app. I'll create a directory here, src. Inside I will add a new TypeScript file, index.ts. So let's install also Express. So npm install Express, and we need also npm install as a dev dependency types Express. So the types for TypeScript. So let's create the app now. So let's import first Express from Express. Let's create the app which is equal to Express like this. Then the app will use express.json. And then let's create a simple endpoint which is app get the main endpoint. We will have a request and a response here, and let's send the response hello world, and let's listen to the a port. So I will listen to port 8000, and that should be it. So if we run this up, we need to install also another package which I forgot. So npm install as a dev dependency nodemon, also types nodemon. So we installed it, and now let's go to package.json, add here start, and we will run nodemon src index.ts, and let's run npm start. So as we can see, we are running this index.ts file, and if we go to localhost port 8000, we will see hello world here. So it is working. Now let's add a schema to our Postgres database. First, make sure to install Postgres in your machine. I already did, so let's try to connect with our local Postgres. So it is here, and my username is Postgres, and the password is pass. And if I try to test this connection, it is working. So we successfully connected, and now here I will create a new schema. So I will create it here, new schema. I'll call it shop1, and I will do the same. Now I'll create another shop2. So the point of this app is to create a multi-tenant connection, so one client will access only their own data, which in our case the shop1 client will access their own shop1 data, and the shop2 client will access their shop2 data. Now, how to build a schema in Prisma in which it will connect to the both databases. So Prisma has these preview features which will allow the multi-schema connection. And in the data source here, we are connecting to the database URL, which we will change now. But we will add also the schemas here. And we have two schemas, which is shop1 and shop2. So this is a functionality that Prisma provides, which help us reduce the complexity. Let's go to the env file now, and we need to change this. So my username is Postgres, and the password is pass, localhost, and we don't need a database here because the connection will be made dynamically. Now let's create a table for both schemas. So I'll create here a model called product, and this will have an ID as an integer, will have a title as a string, and also a price as a float. But this is not enough. I will add here, this is an ID, and the default will be auto increment. So as you can see, I'm having some kind of error because my ID is telling me that this is not correct. The reason is because we have this feature multi-schema. Because of this feature, we are required to add this decorator here, which is a schema, and we have to map it to shop1 in this case. And now we are not having errors, but this product is mapped only to the first schema and not the second one. So how do we make sure that product is in both shop1 and shop2? So we have to duplicate this, we have to create another product, and we have to rename it. So I will call this shop1 product, and I'll call the second one shop2 product, and this will map to the schema shop2. But I won't like the name because it will add shop1 in front. To change that, we have to add map here to just product, and let's do the same for the second one, and we are done. So basically product will be created to both the schema shop1 and the schema shop2. So in order to prove that, let's run the migration. So the migration, we need to run this command. Let's open a new tab here. Let's migrate dev. And do we need another command? I think not. So I will type yes here. And we created a migration. So we created in shop 1 we created a product, and in shop 2 we also created a product. So let's check our database, and let's refresh here. We can see we have a product table in shop 1 which has an ID, title and price, and the same will be for shop 2. So as we can see, we created for all our tenants the same tables. What is left now is to distinguish the tenants from each other and to create records into separate tenants. So let's do that. Let's add here, first we need the Prisma connection. This is equal to a new Prisma client. Don't forget to import it as well from Prisma client here. And let's add two endpoints. So the one is a GET request to API/products. And this will return all of the products in the database. So to do that, we will get here the products are equal to, let's make this asynchronous, await Prisma. We can see now that we need to distinguish between shop 1 and shop 2. For the moment I will just use shop 1, but we will distinguish it later. So we will find all of the records and we will simply return it. So we will send the products like this. And to see the response, we need a tool called Postman, which will help us send HTTP requests. So go to postman.com and download the installer here. So I will open Postman and add here HTTP localhost port 8000/API/products. And as we can see, we are returning an empty array because we don't have any records in the database. So let's add the other endpoint, which I'll copy the first row here, but this will be a post request. And let's close it in the end. This second request will create a product, which is equal to await Prisma. I will still use a shop 1 product here, create, and here we need to pass some data, which in our case is a title, which will send it to through the body. So request that body title, and the price, request that body price here. And in the end, we will send the product that we just created. And that should be it. So I will duplicate this. And this, instead of a GET request, it will become a POST request. And in the body here, I'll select a row. I'll select JSON here. And I will send a product now with a title hat and a price of 20. So if we send this request, we will return this response. So we have also an ID here, which means this record is inserted into the database. And if we go to the previous request, now we get the head product that we just created. So if we check also into the database, that record is created to shop1, but it was not created into the second shop. So that should be it in terms of retrieving and creating products. But how do we distinguish between tenants now? To distinguish tenants locally, we have to change our hosts file, which in Mac and Linux it is the same, and it is very easy. We have to use this command sudo nano etc hosts, and here I have my local hosts, let's call them. And to do that on Windows, I think it is Windows System 32 drivers ETS hosts. So I don't have a Windows machine, so I cannot show you how to do it, but I think there are plenty of tutorials into changing the host files on Windows. Now write this in the hosts files. So 127.0.0.1, and I will call this shop1.local, and let's do the same 127.0.0.1 shop2.local, and save. So that should be it. With that change, we can change this to just from localhost to shop1.local and get the same response. But the difference is the URL, which is very important into multi-tenant apps. So now, how do we select different databases based on the URL? So it is pretty simple. I will add a console log here in this request here. Console.log request.headers.host, and let's see here what we will log. If we send this request, we will see that we are logging this URL. So as we can see, we can now detect which URL is accessing our app, and based on the URL now we will use either shop1 product or shop2 product. So now the problem becomes pretty simple. I will add here a function. I'll call it prefix, which will take I'll close this, the host as a string, and this will return host. I'll split with the dot here and get the first record. So basically I will split in the dot in the middle, and I will just get this either shop1 or shop2. Although usually this needs to be more complex in real apps, but this is a simple app, so let's use this. And now we have to select between shop1 and shop2 here. How do we distinguish? So first, we will not use the values like this. We will actually use the string like this, because it is easier to modify the string now. I will change the quotes to backticks here, and this shop1 we will retrieve it from the prefix function that we just created. So I will cut this, and I will use now prefix of request dot headers dot host, like that, and that will get all the products that we want. Not sure why it is throwing an error now. I think the problem is in the tsconfig.json file. I will make strict to false here, and that should have no issue now with the way that we are retrieving the products. So I'll copy this string here, also the brackets, and I will do the same for the second one. And that's it. Let's go now to Postman and let's send this request, and we are not retrieving any products because we are in the second shop. If we go to the first shop, we are getting this product. So this is how it works. If we want products to the second shop, we have to create it, and we have to go here to shop2.local, and we have to create a product shoes. Let's put 35, send, and as you can see, we created this product. It is the same ID, but it is a different schema. And if we go here, we get the shoes, and that product is not created to the first schema. So this is how we separate different databases to different clients based on the URL. These are the first steps of creating a multi-tenant architecture, and I will create a course for it, but till now it's not ready yet. If I create it, I'll make another video for this topic, and also check the description of this video if I manage to complete that course in the future. So thank you for following this video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.